is a torpedo bomber from World War II. They got a full-size torpedo that goes in the center of that thing. There's a big center bomb bay. There's a big clamshell bomb bay door in there. That thing will fly down next to the water, release the torpedo, and sink a ship. That's what that thing's doing in World War II. A couple of famous pilots that flew that airplane. George Bush Sr., he was the guy that got shot down in one just like that. And Paul Newman, the late actor, was actually a gunner on one of these things here. So pretty cool World War II history. TBM Avenger. It's called a TBM because it's made by General Motors. If it was made by Grumman, it would have been called a TBF. So TBFs and TBMs are the same airplane. Right behind it to the left, we got a green airplane back there. That's a Polikarpov or PO-2. That's a Russian airplane. That was made famous in World War II by a squadron of Russian women. They flew it against the Germans as a harassment bomber. And the Germans hated the women so much they called them the night witches. They would fly over their lines and they would shoot guns into the ground, throw bombs over the side at them, and anything else that they could get their hands on. Chamber pots, barbed wire fencing, anything that they could toss at them. They do this all night, man. They drove the Germans nuts. And then the next day, the Germans would have to go into a battle, and they would be all hung over because they couldn't get any sleep. So, the Night Witches airplane. And then there's another Russian airplane in the right corner over there. It's an Antonov AN-2 back in there. Hard to see it, but it's the largest biplane that's ever been made or produced by any company or country in the world. Russian airplane they make in China. They got the Chinese making them for them. They're flying trucks. There's no seats in them. They're always transport aircraft, almost always. When they do put seats in them, you don't want to ride them because then they got skydivers in them. They'll make you jump out. But that's what they use that airplane for. We use it as a flying truck when the warbirds go to an air show. You know, our pilots that fly that airplane tell me, though, there's no navigational aids on it because it's got a big old ash Russian-Romanian radial engine on the front of it. So what do you mean there's no navigational aids on it? How do you find your way back here? They said all you got to do is follow the big oil slick you left going up, coming back from that big old ash Russian-Romanian radial engine. They will never get lost. All you got to do is look at the ground. Airplane I'm standing right in front of is kind of cool looking. It's the newest acquisition. The Fantasy of Flight's only been here about 3 weeks. Kermit flew it one time. Only got about 4 feet in the air with it because he's not used to it yet. And he's trying to cozy up to this thing to learn how to fly it. But as a replica airplane of a Curtiss pusher. This is a 1909 Herring Curtiss pusher. And Kermit is actually using it as a trainer to train to learn how to fly early flight aircraft that have wings that look like this. And if you go on the woodshop tour, you'll find out why. It's because he's got an airplane being made that has a wing almost exactly like this wing. And he wants to get used to learn how to fly that one. So this is his training plane. This thing came up on the market for sale, and Kermit saw that, and he said, hey, that'll be a good trainer. He bought the doggone thing. Does have a modern day engine in it, though. It's got a Continental O200 engine in there. It's about 100 horsepower, so pretty good horsepower for this thing. And that's what Kermit's doing with it. It's kind of exciting to see him fly this thing. Beautiful airplane. Looks like it's brand new because it is. That's why it's a replica. If it was an old Curtiss pusher, you wouldn't be flying it, I'll guarantee you. But this thing here, the canards and everything on it are made out of bamboo. That scares me. Anytime you make an airplane out of bamboo, that scares the heck out of me. Right behind the Curtiss pusher, we got another Curtiss airplane, which is pretty famous in World War II. We got a Curtiss P-40. And if you look real close, you'll find out that's got a dual cockpit and dual controls on it. It's a P-40 made for two. It's called a TP-40N. Curtiss made not too many of these. It made about 30 or 40 of them as training aircraft. And this is the kind of an airplane that the Flying Tigers would have been flying in China in World War II. Curtiss P-40s. They fly with Allison engines on them. Way in the back, facing away from us, we got a Supermarine Spitfire sitting back there. It's a Mark 14 with a Merlin Rolls-Royce engine on it. We're doing some work on it, getting it back into flight condition. So Kermit